Hey, look at that. It's live now. Hopefully there's no more
Oh, there's plenty of
mess
that.
ups.
There's plenty of that.
So it's interesting because this is allowing me to go live on YouTube
Mhm.
when I can't go live on YouTube.
Jeremy,
This is cool, huh?
we don't have enough subscribers to do that.
Well,
Sir.
I hacked it. I
Sir.
hacked the system.
Sir, you don't have enough
I
subscribers
hacked the system.
to do it.
Ha 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 ha. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to see. Do I follow you on YouTube? Am I
Oh,
subscribed?
Rob's not even subbed to me on YouTube.
I don't
Jesus.
know if I am. Wow, it does say that you're live though.
It does.
Yeah. Wait, you have 893 subscribers?
I do.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I do.
I don't know how many I have. I know it's not that much though.
Yeah.
I know that on my first channel I had that much. But I don't. I abandoned that channel.
Oh no.
for
Okay,
scientific
so I'm
reasons.
gonna. Do you want to pull it up on YouTube and I'll have it up on Facebook?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's ever gonna pop up there.
I have 305 subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Oh, we gotta fix that, dude.
And it's but all my videos have been getting like 1,000 views, right around 1,000 views for them. The last couple ones that I posted.
You're doing way better than me, dude. Okay.
I also post them everywhere.
Are we ready?
Wait, I'm pulling it up on YouTube.
Oh,
Hold. Okay, there we go. Okay. Turn
We
off
good?
the volume on that.
Are we good?
There we go.
Bam. Look at that. Okay.
Ta-da.
Cool. So now we're officially live.
Now I can't use my reference notes.
Oh no. It's okay. You don't need them.
Yeah. There's only 3 caging companies anyway. Anyway.
That's right. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy T from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
So we are now officially streaming video and audio, which is pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool, unless we have a video component and then the people who are listening to it in their car are going, what are they showing right now? We'll have to have
we just can't show anything.
Yeah, or we'll just have to like describe what we're looking at in extreme detail, because that's one of the things that like bothers me when there's a video audio podcast and I'm watching it and they're like, wow, that snake's amazing. He's like, yeah, this snake's amazing. And I'm like, what am I missing? It's like, now I got to go find the video, watch the video, and I'm already listening to it.
Yeah, you got to scrub and find it.
Yeah.
So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Which is cool, and it might end up just being YouTube. I just threw it up here because I didn't know if it was actually going to work on YouTube because of their various restrictions as far as going live, the number of subscribers you have and whatever. So I might just only do it on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and you send in a super chat because you really like us, that is now an option, and we'd appreciate that. But anyway, we're super excited, and today we're continuing our resource episodes. And what are we talking about?
Community.
We're talking about hide boxes, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Enrichment. No. Today we're going to be talking about enclosures, caging, and racking. So the various ways that you can keep your reptiles, and some of the good companies, and some of the things that you could run into as far as issues go, because there are pluses and minuses to a lot of the different styles of enclosures. Like, you don't want to keep dart frogs in a rack system, like a pull-out rack, snake rack. You're not going to do that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you'll have 1 week old dart frogs. That's
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's how long they live, right? So I did want to touch on something also real quick. We are still doing our giveaway. So if you are listening to this contemporarily, so if you're listening to this in 2021 at the beginning of the year, right around January, February, March, we're still going to be doing our giveaway for our resource episodes. So if you take a screenshot of you sending one of our episodes, this episode or one of our previous episodes, to one of your friends, someone you think that might enjoy the podcast, send a screenshot of that to me at Rob is Creeping It Real on Instagram. You'll be entered into win, and I'm giving away a free temp gun so that we can spread the podcast. And who doesn't? Everyone needs a temp gun. If you listen to our episode about things that every reptile keeper should have.
The
Tools of the trade. Everyone needs a temp gun. So we're going to send out a temp gun to one lucky winner. So share it. And then you'll be added as long as you let me know that you shared it.
That's right.
I dig it.
So, enclosures.
Enclosures.
We're talking about enclosures.
Should we talk about like the run up or the come up, where enclosures were when we started keeping reptiles? Because I don't know. Like,
here's your fish tank.
Yeah, here is a fish tank with a metal edge on it.
Yep.
And then a metal screen.
Yep.
Do you need a light? Maybe.
50-50.
Yeah. Just like grab a bulb from your kitchen and just put it in there, and that's plenty good. So we've come a long way. That's to say we've come a long way from when I was a kid, because the thought of UV bulbs and a lot of this other stuff was fresh, new, exciting, not something that everyone talked about or knew about. And so when I was a kid, I had lots of glass fish tanks in my house. And then eventually when I got a little bit older, sliding top tanks and stuff like that. But initially what we had access to was to glass fish tanks. Yeah. And as the industry kind of started to progress, as things really started to get like bigger and more involved, a lot of people started breeding things. You started to see things like racks pop up, and most of the first rack systems people just built themselves.
That's true. With what's that lovely material called?
Melamine or melamine.
Yeah. Heaviest.
Yeah,
the heaviest thing on Earth.
It has the density of a dying sun. Yeah. So like when you try and move a melamine rack, you're pretty much guaranteed to pull a muscle. Probably drop it on your foot and break every bone in your foot, and it's bad. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's not bad. It is just very difficult to work with.
It can be super, super difficult to work with.
I built a lot of melamine racks.
Going from glass cages to melamine racks. I built some, bought some. It all sucked, every bit of it. So it was the coolest thing, because you're like, I have a rack system now. That's awesome.
I didn't have to take out a mortgage to buy one.
And
or an auto
and then
loan.
you have to do your first like moving of things in your snake room, is you're like, oh, I could probably fit that cage there if I just move this rack over a little bit. And if you didn't put casters on that,
or those
rack,
like furniture slider things, if you didn't do those two things,
it wasn't good for you.
It's probably not going to move, depending on how many levels you had on your rack.
Because
I built everything tall.
Me too.
At least eye level.
My first baby rack that I ever built was melamine shelves, and it held 90 bins.
Wow.
Yeah, so 6 drawers across. I think it was like 15 levels high, or whatever that math is to equate to 90. I did that, and it used to lean forward because I never put
terrifying.
I never put a stabilizer piece in it, because I wasn't gifted with carpentry skills. So it used to lean forward. And probably the worst part about it was that meant the mid to lower drawers were all very tight because everything's leaning forward. So I remember doing YouTube videos back in the day and like showing off this really cool ball python I just hatched. And then you go to put it back in the bins, like
like kicking
like
it
the
into
ball
the
python's
rack.
having a seizure now, and
the water spilled everywhere.
It's not wonderful.
Yeah.
But it also, there's melamine cages been an option.
Sealing them is very important. If you plan on having your enclosure for any period of time, getting a good silicone sealant that is non-toxic. So you want to go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's, look for bathroom sealant that's mold resistant, and you also want something that's non-toxic, and generally you want something that off gases within 12 or 24 hours, which that's a lot to ask, but you don't want to seal it and then put your animal in it right away. You want to give time for the sealant to cure. You want it time to, if it's all the chemicals that are in there, to kind of get all the gas out of them.
Mhm.
And then once it's had that opportunity to do that, then you can start putting your substrate in and your decorations and all that sort of stuff. And, that is something that's very important because melamine it's wood, but it's got a plastic lining on it.
Mhm.
And if any water gets outside of that plastic lining and touches the
done.
wood,
It's done.
it pretty much just disintegrates.
Yeah, it's literally, imagine Reptichip or Cocoa Block or anything like that. It's dry and compact, and then you put some water on it, and that's what happens to melamine when it gets wet. And also, melamine cages are terrible to move.
Yes.
I had plenty of those. But I mean, there's also been some amazing cage companies that have come around over the years. Certainly, Vision products. When you're thinking of caging, Vision cages are one of the first ones that tend to pop up when you Google reptile cages.
Mm-hmm. Neodeshas are another one of the classics where it's like a single form plastic molded enclosure. And the old Neodeshas, a lot of them had a slanted back, so they weren't like a cube. They were kind of like a slice of cheese, like a triangle kind of thing. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You can't stack them. This doesn't make. And they were like,
you had to get a
you
separate
have to
rack.
buy the rack to go with
the
NPI cage. The Neodesha Plastics Incorporated cage.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting.
They just redid their company kind of, and they rebranded as NPI.
Yeah.
Just recently, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But they are like one of the classics, one of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people still like them. They have changed how they do their enclosures a lot since then. Some of the newer ones are stackable, and they've used the input from the hobby to adjust the way that they make their enclosures so that they work better for the keeper.
Yeah.
Because back then they were just like, I don't know, make a thing. Let's do the thing.
And I think it's important to recognize too that like Neodesha was like basically like the OG cage company. And so there was no standard.
Yeah. We didn't know how
we were going to do it. Yeah. So the fact that there was a company that started building cages of varying sizes, from like a 3 foot or a 2 foot cage,
all the way up to 8 foot.
8 foot monsters. There's one downstairs here.
Still?
Yeah. Yep. It's busted. Like you can't use, but there's one down there. And then arboreal enclosures as well. So I mean, they really covered the gambit for reptile keepers back in the day when it was basically just them, and like if you didn't have Neodesha, you were building your own,
or using glass aquariums,
exactly.
I want to go back and touch on glass aquariums real quick because a lot of people crap on glass aquariums, but they do have their place. If you keep dart frogs, if you do isopods, if you are working with those sort of things, even like geckos, especially like with newer design cages like the Exoterras and the Zoomeds, where they're making these arboreal glass enclosures that have like these swinging opening doors at the front of them. I love those enclosures for like those geckos and for dart frogs and stuff like that. And one of the newest ones is have you seen the Zilla ones yet?
I have seen the
Zilla ones. Love those ones because the dimensions are a little bit different. Like they kind of make that the Exoterras have got like a 8-inch by 8-inch by 12-inch that I use for a lot of tarantulas, and then the Zilla one makes one that's a little bit deeper. So it's like, I think like 10 or 12 inches deep, but it's like roughly the same size. That's just deeper. And I'm like, oh, that extra couple inches just looks nicer. And then also one of the big complaints for the Exoterra glass enclosures is that they let out a lot of humidity because it's it's got a screen top, and then it's also got ventilation along the front. So it creates like this movement of air through the enclosure, but
which in some instances is good.
It's cool, but for a lot of stuff, it's like, oh, it's too much, and it just allows things to dry out too quickly.
Yeah.
So Zilla heard that, and with each of their glass enclosures, they now put a plastic insert that fits into the screen, so you can cover up the various amounts of screen to keep some of that humidity in there. I was like, yes, they're listening to the buyers and doing what they should be doing.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to glass enclosures, just thinking back from the aquarium days
Yep.
to now, like leaps and bounds
Yes.
of innovations. You know, I mean,
Sliding, locking lids. Like,
yeah,
what?
it's ridiculous. Yeah, where were those
When you kept colubrids?
when I was first keeping corn snakes, and you got that little thing wedged right up top, and then it finds the gap and it's gone.
Gone.
Those
forever.
those sliding locking lids were a massive game changer. So kudos to those companies that
Yeah.
started to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, it's super important to think about
what type of animal you're going to put in your enclosure.
Yeah.
Like what I was saying at the beginning, you don't want to throw a dart frog into a snake rack.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah, generally don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. They're going to do much better in a planted, live, bioactive vivarium than they are going to do in a rack. And you look at a blood python, and they do so much better in a rack than you put them in a planted vivarium, and they're going to dig up all of your plants, and then pee, and the ammonia is going to ruin the acidity of your soil. Yeah. And then they're not going to go to the bathroom hardly ever. So you're going to have to feed your isopods, and it becomes more work than if you had just put them in a rack and use paper or, cocoa block or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I mean, that when it comes to picking your enclosure, you have to think about what you're putting in it.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people like to, especially like first-time reptile owners, they want to just get one cage.
Oh, that's
and they want it to be like, I want to get this 40-gallon breeder for my baby ball python.
Yeah, for my 3-month-old ball python.
Buy another cage. And it doesn't work that way.
No,
it doesn't work
very,
that way.
Very rarely would that ever work.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're going to scare the crap out of it. It's not going to want to eat. And then either you're going to change or it's going to starve itself to death.
Yep, exactly. So it's really important to think about these things. And, I know some people that will they'll start baby animals in racks, and then as they age, they'll
move
end
them
up into a cage. Yeah. And that's wonderful. If you want to do that and you have the ability to do that, awesome. Some people keep everything in racks, and that's also fine. Some people want everything in an AP cage or something like that, and awesome. Do what you want to do. So it's important to just know what it is you're going to put in that enclosure so you can plan appropriately. And then the trickiness becomes, now in 2021, there's a lot of cage builders that are out there. There's of course the classics, NPI, Vision, trying to think what's another.
Animal Plastics,
huge. Obviously another massive ARS Freedom Breeder.
Yep, Freedom Breeder. Big, mostly racks those guys build, but Animal Plastics do make really nice cages, enclosures. NPI mostly does cages and enclosures, whereas like Freedom Breeder mostly does racks. ARS mostly does racks.
Yep.
Reptile Basics is now jumping in and throwing their kind of ring in
the rack game.
Yeah.
And they've got they're
really nice.
Cool stuff. Rich has some really good stuff going on over there.
I bought 2 of the Reptile Basics V6 racks, and they have interchangeable tubs. So they've got like a rack that's kind of deep, and it fits 3 hatchling tubs side by side, or you can get the next size up that fits 2 a little bit wider tubs, like a medium size tub side by side, or you can fit 1 sweater box in the same rack. So you can have one rack that can do
a bunch of different
all your hatchlings, and then when you start to sell them and you get down to your holdbacks,
you've got space for your holdbacks. Yeah. And I think that's an amazingly creative and innovative way to utilize your space.
Yes.
Because especially if you're the hobbyist that's like, I've got like, I don't know, a pair of blood pythons, and
I'm just
like
gonna keep one baby, 2 babies.
Exactly. And I need to be able to keep them, but I don't want to have 30 racks of stuff when I'm only going to ever produce this one clutch and whatever. So that's an amazing way to really utilize your space in the most effective way possible.
Trying to think this, because there's some of the newer people who have come out, like Chris Chappell at Herptastic, who's got like a huge, great reputation, makes some really nice, clean looking cages, super easy to clean, stellar reputation. He's like really crushing it. There's like Dragon House is kind of a little bit newer. And then, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of the one that was in Reptiles magazine. They always had the ones with the big iguana in there.
Oh shoot, I know the one that you're talking about too.
It's like reptile cage designs or something like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember
Their cages
all
were
those.
astronomically expensive.
Yeah,
like,
but they were so awesome.
They
Like
were-
that was for
they
that
were like museum quality cages.
Yeah, it was like for that person that's got that one badass pet they want to throw in the middle of their living room. It's like a big display. Like you're gonna drop $5,000 on like the most badass display for that animal.
Yeah,
that's the most spoiled animal
pretty much
that exists.
But they definitely. I'm seeing more companies like that pop up where they're like, we just do higher end caging. We don't do anything that's under $500.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to compete. So I mean, thinking from the builder standpoint, you want to be able to provide an enclosure that cages by design. That's what
cages by design.
By design. Yep. So you want to be able to bring something to the table that's different, obviously, because there's a lot of companies building enclosures. So you want to bring something that's different to the table, but you have to. You have to think, what are you actually trying to do if you're a cage builder? Like what's going to set you apart? Because essentially at some point we're just reinventing the wheel, right? So what's going to set you apart? Is it going to be the materials that you're using? Is it going to be your cost? Is it going to be your turnaround time? I mean, and that's something we're certainly going to talk about in a little bit. So I mean, all these different things play a massive role. If you're the cage builder, you have to ask yourself, what you're going to actually be fulfilling if you're going to take on that endeavor.
What I've noticed is that a lot of the newer guys, they're kind of coining their business on custom. So you say you've got a wall that's 4 feet and 4.5 inches for a cage, and you want it to fill that whole space, they'll make you one that fits right in there.
Yeah, which I think is awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely awesome. And there's, I mean, certainly like companies like Animal Plastics will do stuff like that, but they with what they already do, they service a lot of the standard stuff. So it's
4-foot cages, 6-foot cages,
so it's not common
cages.
for them to get those orders, but it does happen. But I agree, there's a lot of those guys that are like, I can build whatever size cage you need, man. Let me know. And I've noticed that there's also a couple people who are getting into it that have access to the CNC machines.
Yes.
The this, the that, everything's in the house, which cuts down cost, which is wonderful. One of the first people that comes to mind is Dale Tamura. Tamura Designs out in California.
Dude, his enclosures are gorgeous,
amazing.
If you are not following him on Instagram, you need to go check it out.
Yep.
He works with like chameleons. He's got like some Meller's chameleons.
He's breeding Meller's chameleons,
which is like huge,
which is massive. It's
huge.
Absolutely ridiculous. I went to his place when I was in LA this time last year.
Shut up.
Here. And he's got a wonderful collection of chameleons. He's got panther chameleons, and he's got Parsons chameleon and Mellors and a few other very interesting chameleon species. But his enclosures, wow, just wow. I was floored. And his concepts, like he's really taken, obviously he's focusing on chameleons, but he's really taken that concept of caging in particular for chameleons to a whole other level. For the longest time it's been screen cages, get your screen cages and whatever. His concept is not that. It's PVC cages, but with plenty of airflow,
proper ventilation.
He also uses like fans and stuff like that, and then appropriate drainage, so your humidity, all of this stuff. It's literally wonderful. So I'm going to make sure that I put his all of his stuff in the description of this video and in the audio if you're just listening to this. I'll make sure I put that in there because his cages are dope, very, very awesome. And I don't even think he's realized the potential of them for the.
Well, I don't know, maybe he did, but
everything I've seen is just chameleon oriented.
No,
so far.
Have you seen Tango the Dwarf Cayman?
Well, yes, he did do Tango the Dwarf Cayman. He did custom build
an enclosure for Tango the Dwarf Cayman.
He did that. He was building that when I was out there, which was pretty awesome to see. But I'm thinking about like the arboreal snake community, the arboreal gecko community, right? And even like Will Nace for the
for his
arboreal venomous
vipers,
stuff.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really awesome. I was talking with him a little bit about that, and he was actually interested in what could be done for that. So
Ooh.
I think, especially with the built-in drainage system that's there, and the best part about it is like it's a drain at the bottom of the enclosure, and the base of the enclosure is basically just you put the walls in, but you can put a bucket under that for drainage, and then you're just changing out the bucket. You don't need to worry, and it's obviously not something you need to do every single day. So yeah, I'll put all of his info in the descriptions of the video and for the audio, so you guys should go check him out. Dale Tamora Designs. He's got some just badass enclosures, and it's what he does. I mean, he does signage, like really high-end signage and stuff. So he's got the CNC machines, he's got access to this, that, and the other thing. It was quite impressive going to check out his place, and I can't wait to get out to California to hang with him again. It'll be quite interesting to see the improvements and modifications that he's made up close on those enclosures. So so that's one person. So we've already talked, we've mentioned AP Cages, Animal Plastics. They've definitely set the standard when it comes to the when it's come to the PVC enclosures, and in all the standard sizes, from your standard arboreal enclosure, 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosures, all the way through 2 foot cages to 8 foot cages, and pretty much everything in between, from terrestrial animals to arboreal animals, and running the gambit. And they have a lot of customizability,
for lighting and
exactly, which is massive.
Casters and all that stuff.
Yeah. But there is a but.
There is a huge,
and we love AP.
There is a huge booty butt.
Big booty butt.
Yeah, big booty right now. But their turnaround time is horrendous.
Yep.
Like 6 months or more.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're thinking about buying a enclosure for your animal from any of the like bigger guys, especially Animal Plastics, you might want to do it thinking a year in advance.
Yeah.
If you're raising up an animal, maybe think about buying its adult enclosure from them, not a mid-size enclosure for them. Yeah. Because by the time you get your mid-size enclosure, your animal will probably have outgrown it.
Yeah, it is unfortunately true. And COVID hasn't helped the situation as manufacturers are struggling to meet the just overall demand of cage builders and everybody else that uses the same materials, not just reptile cage builders. They're not all making PVC for just reptile cage builders.
Could you imagine that?
That would be wonderful. So yeah, definitely a negative.
Yes, turnaround times
for sure.
ARS has got a decent turnaround time, but it's still several weeks. Anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks or more, depending.
Freedom Breeder also has a long wait time, like around 14 weeks.
14 weeks, so. And then like Reptile Basics, when I ordered from them, they had a really great turnaround time. It was like 2 weeks. I ordered it, and within 2 weeks, I got my racks, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Yeah, Sea Serpents I think is around the same.
Yep, and then Chris Chappell too, anywhere from I think it's like 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical. That used to be like the standard.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, that
3
used
to 6 weeks,
standard.
a month. I can wait a month.
Yeah,
6 months.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
kind of rough.
Reasonable.
And part of that is again, like I said, being able to get a hold of raw materials to building is sometimes a challenge. And AP has been such a standard in the industry.
Their cages look so nice. They're so easy to clean. They're like very uniform. I love Animal Plastics enclosures. Like if I knew that I could get an entire room in under a year, I would love that. But realistically looking at it, and the thing is, another one of the things with that wait time is that everyone wants animal plastics enclosures. So they've got so
The
many people that are
backlog.
trying to order from them
Yep.
that getting to all those orders, they only have so many CNC machines and
Yep.
you know, the materials and this, that, and the other thing. I'm not saying that they're just doing it just to mess with people, because they're not. They really do care about the customer.
Yes.
It's just that they are so bogged down with the amount of volume that people are trying to get out of them.
Yeah, which is also just a testament of how good their enclosures
Mhm.
are. And I will say their customer service is by far some of the best.
Mhm.
When I got my hands on a bunch of AP cages a while back, and one of them only had one glass door,
Mhm.
so I had to order another glass door, and it was very responsive, like almost, you know, within the hour that I had even sent the email, Allie had gotten back to me. Super easy to figure, okay, this is what you need, this is how much it is, blah blah blah, we'll get it right out the door. And that to me was massive, because at that point I had never dealt with them.
Mhm.
It was just like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna order this cage and whatever, and there was
I buy
like
used.
kind of done. Yeah. But this was like, nope, I actually need this very specific thing from you guys, and the correspondence was wonderful. Yeah, that I love that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's one of those things that if I'm thinking about buying a cage and thinking about, oh, I'm gonna do it in advance and buy ahead, like that's one of the things that makes me okay with that wait, is like, I'm gonna support a company that clearly is going to be good with the customers and everything.
And their enclosures last. Like if you
definitely do
take care of them, they last really, really well.
Yeah.
Same thing with Herptastic though. Chris Chappell,
Mhm.
his cages are like sturdy, super easy to clean.
Yeah.
And that turnaround time is a lot better. So I really like that. And I think that as there's more competition, as people are spending more money, it's just going to make it better for the consumer. It's just going to make it better for us. Hopefully that they're investing more into the, machines that are able to make them cut the plastic quicker so they can get more things shipped out.
Mhm.
A lot of caging companies used to ship things out built,
Mhm.
and they've kind of adjusted to ship things flat for a lot of the different plastic enclosures, and you just assemble them at home, and it'll save you a bunch of money on shipping. Because like I loved bow-file cages. Like bow-files are like one of my favorite. If I could do a whole room in bow-files, those
Shout
are
out to Jeff Ronnie.
Yeah, Jeff Ronnie at the bow-file. If I could do a whole room in those, that is one that I would like. I love the look of those enclosures. I love the locks that he's got on them. Like I love just about everything about those enclosures. I don't think he's doing as many caging things now. I haven't seen like new cages come out in a while.
I haven't either. But who knows?
Yeah. But I love those enclosures. But again, those are ones that like when I see them used for sale, I'm like, oh, I gotta get that. I gotta do, because I love those enclosures.
Are pretty freaking sweet.
And if you are also looking at plastic enclosures for things like snakes or lizards, pvccages.com. Those guys have been around forever. They make really nice enclosures as well.
I got one of my original green tree cages from them, just their 2-foot cube, and it was like perfect.
I used those enclosures for Amazons, and I didn't really like it for the Amazons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would use it for Spilotes and stuff, and they did great in it, but the Amazons just didn't do well.
It happens.
Yeah,
that's one of those things, man.
So, you gotta know.
You also gotta listen to your animals, because you might think that this enclosure is going to be great, and it might be great for you, but not great for the animal. And sometimes that happens. And if it happens, you can look at it from one of two perspectives. Well, now I got to sell this, or I'm going to hold on to this cage because I might need it at some point in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
I certainly recommend the latter, because it's inevitable. You're going to buy another animal at some point in your life. Just saying. Not saying that because I just bought more animals today, but at some point you're going to buy more animals.
And the cost of the enclosures doesn't really go down that much. Like people like a new animal plastics 4-foot cage is like $300 or something, and people sell used ones for $200. So it's like not even.
Yeah, they hold their value very well.
Yeah, even though they're used, it's like, oh my god, it's still so.
Yeah. So we certainly talked a lot about cage manufacturers, and I'm gonna, before we move on, I'll shout out one more. Ross. Dragon Cages. I got to see him at the Atlanta show, which is great. I always love seeing Ross and hanging out with Ross, and he's been building cages forever. And my baby racks and my 41 quart rack are from Ross, and I absolutely love them. They're very, very well built. He takes a lot of time and makes very quality enclosures. And for me personally, he's just one of those people that like, I love the product and I love the person behind the product.
Yes.
And and I really enjoy investing into that, because he's been around for a long ass time. And he's just a great guy. And I was talking with him about getting more racks from him.
Was it for holdbacks?
It could be for holdbacks, Rob. It could very well be for holdbacks.
This season it might be.
I know. Yeah, so he's another person, and he builds cages as well as rack systems. And
like furniture
they're
quality
wonderful.
cages.
Yeah, and it's great. Mostly now he does PVC stuff, but
does he?
Yeah, but he did for the longest time do like furniture grade plywood,
sealed, stained,
and everything. Like that's what my baby racks are, and they're wonderful. I haven't had any issues with humidity or anything like that, like messing them up. They're absolutely wonderful. And he's also somebody that will do custom enclosures. If you tell him like, hey, I need a cage that's 6 foot 1 inch. I mean, he might be mad about that 1 inch, but he'll do it. Yeah, he'll do it.
1 inch, I got you.
Oh, Rob. So shout out to Ross. So we've talked certainly a lot about cage builders, but there's also plenty of rack companies out there. A lot of the companies we've already talked about also build racks.
Yes.
As well.
ARS is like the monster right now. They're coming out swinging, man. They've redone some of their rack systems and they are crushing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like amazing racks. And like that, when I set up my reptile room, when I finally get to like settle things down and get everything how I want it for my bloods and short tails, I want to go all ARS for my enclosures. I just love the feel of the rack. They are built incredibly well. They look sleek, they look nice, they have a good footprint for what I feel like they'll do best in. So I am like full on board with that. I just love them. I love them. Yeah. And they have a decent turnaround time, so you're not waiting 10 years to get them. So you can't beat that.
Yeah, no, I agree. ARS, I mean, if you're thinking about racks, like the industrial racks, if you really think about it, I mean, you're looking at ARS and you're looking at Freedom Breeder.
Yes.
Like those are basically the two major ones. And I like both companies really well. ARS certainly has a really good turnaround time. I like Freedom Breeder. I think I'm more experienced with Freedom Breeder, so I'm a little biased towards Freedom Breeder. Mostly because, I mean, that's obviously what we have at Nerd. Nerd has a long-standing relationship with Freedom Breeder. So, and Freedom Breeder they also try to do a lot of innovations over the years as far as like cages and like hybrid racks and all these things as time has gone on. The turnaround time is kind of a bummer.
Yes.
But
they're working on it.
I think they are expanding.
They did. I heard that they are expanding.
Yep. And I see where Brian Cusco's in the house, and he really likes Freedom Breeder. So maybe he can throw in the chat what's going on with that. Maybe a little inside scoop, huh, buddy? But yeah, and I mean, there's certainly like your quote standard sized racks, like your 6-quart racks or your long drawer racks. Then you've got, your bus trays, kind of that mid-size 32-quart rack, and then your CB70s. And those are kind of like your traditional racks. If you're doing like colubrids or ball pythons,
king snakes, any of that stuff.
The wonderful thing with ARS and Freedom Breeder is you get those options for those bigger racks. If you're keeping something like a blood python, or even carpet pythons, or a lot of blood pythons, they're producing those. So like Freedom Breeder's got like the FB80 and FB90 drawers, 4 foot. Oh, there you go. From Cusco, second warehouse going up right now. That's awesome. Brian, when I come out to hang out with you, we need to go visit Freedom Breeder. So you get these larger rack options for bigger reptiles, and then
these are designed for reptile keepers.
Yeah, exactly.
So like little things you wouldn't think about, like the new Freedom Breeders have got the pull out table
yes
level that goes onto it. So
Yep.
you literally can have a pull-out
workstation.
table, so that you don't have to have a cart in your room. You can literally have a pull-out station, so you can, as you're cleaning, you can put the tub right on there, clean it while it's sitting right on top of the rack right there. You don't have to go anywhere, and it's right there for you.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. The other thing that's nice with both companies is you can buy per level.
Yes.
Which is cool. So, you know, they have their standard set, you know, if you're looking
level rack.
Yeah.
6-level rack.
Yeah, exactly. So like CB70s traditionally come in 10 levels, 3 across. So there's 30 bins in a rack. But let's say you're like, I don't really need that, but I do like Freedom Breeder racks. You can get 4 levels of that. If you've got 12 snakes, you get 4 levels, and you can buy more levels later. So if you end up having some holdbacks, you know, you can buy an extra level and add that on, which is a wonderful thing, because a lot like PVC racks generally can't really do that. You know, sometimes you can get like segments, but it's very rare that you ever find anybody that's producing the spot for just a single slot. So that's certainly a big plus with a company like that. The other aspect of it too is they have even larger rack sizes. So 4-foot racks from both AP and Freedom Breeder, and then Freedom
ARS.
Breeder or I'm sorry, what did I say? AP.
Yeah.
What? I meant ARS.
Yeah.
ARS, 4-foot rack. And the one thing I will give Freedom Breeder over ARS is the 6-foot rack.
Yes.
That is an option at Freedom Breeder that ARS has not touched yet.
Yeah.
And I certainly do like that, especially, I mean, if you're working with super dwarf reticulated pythons, and you want to provide them with a lot of enrichment space, and use your Zoomed telescoping snake hook for your tiny reticulated pythons, your 6-foot rack is absolutely magic. But anyway, it's really, really great. And I saw somebody using 4-foot Freedom Breeder racks for adult ball pythons, which generally is not something that you think about or see like ever. But if you are maybe the pet keeper that has a lot of ball pythons but really doesn't like what a CB70 drawer looks like for a ball python, you have that option. You can do an FB90 drawer or a 4-foot drawer, and have at it. Just have at it. So there's a lot of different options. A 22.5% super dwarf retic is perfect for a 6-foot rack. I tend to like the just straight dwarf, because you know you're guaranteed with a straight dwarf reticulated python that it's only going to get 15-foot max. You're guaranteed.
Oh boy!
I promise you that.
It's like, this episode brought to you by Reach Out Reptile.
Well, you know the joke. So if you follow Nerd, you know that we just had a wonderful visit from Dave Kaufman and Brian Cusco and Garrett Hartle. And originally we weren't totally sure if Garrett was going to show up.
Yes.
And it was shown to me that it was approximately a 25% chance or 22% chance or something like that Garrett was going to show up. And I was like, listen, man, we're talking about a trip to Nerd. We're not talking about super dwarf percentages. You're either coming or you're not coming.
Yeah.
So that was happening.
Also,
Rob,
Jeremy
Matt,
and I.
I'm sorry. Wait,
no,
we have to. I'm asking this.
No,
I'm asking this. Matt wants to know what rack you keep your berms in, Rob. Happy belated birthday, Rob.
I don't.
I mean, happy Berms Day.
I hate. Okay, listen. That was so funny. I'm going to post that on my Instagram so that people can see it, because that was amazing. Brian Cusco serenaded me with Dan Megano and a whole bunch of people. It was great. It was amazing. Even though I don't like berms, that was funny.
He liked berms for a split second.
For a moment.
I had to throw that in.
It's because Cusco was holding it.
Too good. Oh, not even for me.
He's
Damn.
He's too nice. He's too nice.
That's right. I'm not nice. I'm a sarcastic
You're
asshole.
nice to me.
I am nice to you. But Rob's like, but I don't like it when he drinks. He gets loud when he drinks.
Oh no, that's when we have fun. You remember the auction at Carpet Fest?
I don't. No.
Carpet Fest is fun.
Carpet Fest is fun. Listen here, motherfucker.
Yeah, we had a good time with that auctioneer. He had a good time.
That was a good time.
Back to cages.
Back to cages. Little deviation.
But yeah, keep an eye on my Instagram. You'll
There
see
you
what we're
go.
talking
It
about
was
right
good.
now.
It was good.
Make sure you're not drinking anything when you watch it, because you might spit.
Or
it everywhere.
no, please
you
drink
might
something.
Spit it everywhere.
Please, if you're gonna drink something, record yourself, watching the video.
Because I almost fell on the floor laughing when I saw my birthday message from them.
Yep.
Dude, I turned 32, and people were like, oh, 32? Do you feel old? I'm like,
You're like, yeah, every day.
I work all day. I don't know what you're asking me right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
People ask me what age I am, and I have to think about it. Does that mean I'm old?
Yeah. No, you know what means you're old? When you've got to like fill in something for your age and you have to scroll for your birth year, like more than just a quick little when you've got to like flick it and then it still didn't get there. That's how you know you're old.
Aw, Jeremy. You're calling people out right now.
Yep, I am, and not fucking mad about it. Because I still have to scroll too. It's not that far, but it's getting farther every passing year, guys.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
cages.
So I'm trying to think of like which ones we haven't touched on just yet. You got to think about what you're keeping. So like arachnids and stuff, when they're babies, when they're slings, or when they're scorpions, you would definitely want to do them in vials, dram vials, 25 dram vial or whatever. And then as they grow, you're going to want to throw them into something a little bit bigger, not throw them, but gently place them into something a little bit bigger. No, don't throw spiders. Spiders are nice.
Spiders are nice.
And then, you're going to want to upgrade. Most of the arachnid community has kind of adapted. There's like a ton of people who are making acrylic displays for your arachnids. So like if you've got a big brachypelma, like a big red, I'm using air quotes right now, red knee tarantula or red leg, quote unquote, tarantula, any of the brachypelma stuff, in these beautiful clear acrylic boxes that you fill in with substrate and like maybe a bottle cap water dish or something, a little cactus in there or something. It just looks amazing as long as you don't have like 500 tarantulas. It's really hard to keep those and also have nice looking enclosures when you have that many. Yep. A lot of people do plastic tubs and stuff when they've got that many, or I really like the look of the Exoteras and the Zillas in that smaller size for the arboreal, because I mostly keep arboreal stuff. So Exotera makes something that's like 8 inches by 8 inches by 12 inches, works pretty good for a lot of the smaller arboreal stuff. And then like I was saying, the Zilla makes one that's a little bit deeper. I like that one too.
And I think that's one thing that that we didn't talk about when it comes to like racks and cages is like, if you're kind of on the fence of what you want to get, what are some things you should think about when you're on the fence about like, do I get a cage or do I get a rack system or whatever? And I mean, for the most part, if you're thinking of breeding most reptile species, racks are going to generally be easier. And you also want to think about the utilization of space, unless you have a ridiculous amount of space and you just want to have everything in cages and go for it. Do it. But for the most part, if you're breeding any species of reptile, like racks are going to tend to be your friend. And with the size racks that are available from literally, sandwich boxes for baby colubrids all the way up to 6-foot drawers, from Freedom Breeder, there's a lot of stuff in between.
And then if you follow Steve Tillis on Instagram,
shout out to Steve.
Yeah, shout out to Steve, man. He is making these 3D printed half rack, half cage enclosures, and he is like crushing it. Like Garrett had put out a thing to Freedom Breeder to, hey, we should find a way to do this, and Steve fucking did it, man. He did it, and it looks amazing. If you check out Reptilis, I think it's on that account.
Reptilis, or is it on his other account?
I know he's got it on his other account, but I think that he might have posted it on the other one as well.
Reptilis, yeah.
Because
you should check it out.
It is really, really cool, and he's got scrubs and poplin.
Yeah, it's another instance of him making me feel insignificant.
No,
but it's also
he's our friend,
cool.
though.
He is our friend.
We're cool by association, right?
I guess
how
so.
that works.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
I know. people
Fuck you,
on
Steve.
YouTube.
Oh man.
Wait, are you Jeremy from YouTube?
I don't know, Noah.
Uh,
Noah Marcus. Am I Jeremy from
Nerd,
YouTube?
you're from the nerd account.
No. You know what it is, dude? You know what it is? It's the ball python stuff. And
I love
Cusco's
that.
video didn't help that.
Oh, it was great.
But I willingly did it.
Yes.
I willingly did it. So
One time for the people at home.
ball python.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I love when he does that. Get all
God.
jazzed.
Jesus. You know, all this means is actually, no, I'll say I'm happy that there aren't reptile shows in the this immediate time frame,
yeah.
because when I did the one for Nerd, that following White Plains, that was like within a month of the video going up, people were coming up to me and just like, ball pythons, and I was like, oh, I started something I shouldn't have started.
Oh, you need a shirt that's just you going like this. It's
I'm
like,
just
ball
like
pythons. That would be awesome.
Somebody
I would
wants
wear
to make me that shirt.
the hell out of that
If
shirt
somebody wants to make Rob and I those shirts, we'll rock them.
with like a bumblebee.
I just have to be like,
ball pythons.
and you can't see that if you're
He's
just
holding
looking
his
at the
arms
audio,
up and
but
like mouth
ball
open.
pythons.
Ball
Yeah.
pythons.
Ball pythons. Yeah. Oh my god.
That would be awesome.
It doesn't flow as well with any other species. Like I can't be like carpet pythons. It's different.
Scrub pythons.
Yeah. You could probably do it with scrub
I could do it with
pythons.
scrubs. It's
All right.
like me dodging a scrub python.
Scrub pythons.
Flying missiles.
And it's just like, but then we have to have a custom one done for Dan. That's just underneath
Ooh, you
this.
fucker.
Ooh, you fucker.
him getting railed by a blood python. Ooh, you fucker.
Oh, this guy we work with.
Yeah.
Love Dan.
He likes to
Love
hand
Dan.
feed the blood pythons, and by that I mean he likes to feed his hands to the blood
literally
pythons.
to the blood pythons. And
He's not careful when he opens up the tub.
yeah, and you don't hear anything. You don't know what he's doing until from down the hall you hear, "Oh, you fucker," and then you know he got
and
bit
he goes,
by something.
Jeremy, Rob,
Yeah.
someone?
Somebody help me.
Too good.
Oh boy, good
Mm.
old Dan.
Do we even talk about vision racks? Like
we didn't talk
the
about vision
Econo
racks. No, we didn't talk about those. So vision, going back to vision, I think that's actually really, really good. So vision cages obviously have been a standard in caging for a while. A lot of people still use their cages, and I think their cages are great. The only downfall I think with your cages is they're single piece molded plastic. So shipping, they have to be shipped as is. Yeah.
The other thing that's downside about them.
The lip. Oh yeah.
The lip.
It's like, what is?
Jeremy's like, there's something wrong with
happening?
Rob. I think he's having a
I think
stroke right now.
Rob's on his way out here. Yeah, the lip is another bad thing. There's another company called Showcase Cages that was very similar to Vision and also had the lip. And it was like, oh man, like you guys should have fixed the lip.
You would think that after like the first 5 years of people criticizing that they would just like grab some foam sealant and just like fill it in.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
It didn't.
I think they wanted to watch people like us who kept like Amazons throw an Amazon tree boa up there and then get annihilated as we go to clean the cage.
No, when I the only time that I used Vision cages, I took plastic and filled it in so that they couldn't do that.
Well, I used towels, like beach towels. I wedged those up there. Amazon tree boa still got it.
Oh yeah, they can still get behind that.
Yeah, it didn't matter. And then I was getting annihilated trying to go into the enclosure.
styrofoam.
Oh, styro.
Custom styrofoam pieces to fit in there so that they couldn't get up there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh man, I just
so vision racks.
Yes.
Vision racks. They're an econo rack, which basically means
less expensive.
It's less expensive. It's an open rack, so there's really no walls or anything around it. Which is obviously cool from the price point is wonderful. And it's also really easy. You can get that purple insulation foam and kind of wall it in if you needed to, actually pretty easily. I've seen a couple of people that have done that before in cages in their reptile room. If their reptile room is kind of dry and the rack just isn't holding in enough humidity, I've seen some people do that and it seemed to work pretty well. I think it's kind of a bitch to secure everything, but once you kind of get that, it's actually not that difficult to maintain. So that's an option. And one of the other cool things with their racks, and I don't know if they originally started doing this, but they're another rack that has interchangeable tubs.
Yeah,
which
like
is
that.
Awesome. Yeah, it is a wonderful feature. So Vision has a lot. If you've ever heard like V18, V35, V70, those racks, That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Vision racks, the V6 or whatever the smaller drawers are, all this stuff. Those are all vision made racks. And they're wonderful. I love them. I have a V35 rack and I love it. I think it's great.
I actually just bought one of those racks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. I have some other ones down at Lenny's place in the Carolinas that he was going to sell, and I was like, "Don't sell those.
Yeah.
I'll take those."
Yep.
And
they're
they're
CB70 size tubs as well. That I got one of those. It was like $1,000 shipped right around there for an 11 level rack,
and
I
that's
was like,
awesome.
Yep, that's pretty freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty freaking good in my opinion. And it comes like with it's basically like if you ever set up one of those wire baker's racks, it's got poles like
those
that,
legs,
and then you slide down a level, and then they've got spacers that go on the poles, and then you slide down the next level. You got to make sure that one, you put them facing the right side down, and then two, you got to choose which end is going to be the front end, which end is going to be the back end, and don't swap them. Because the first time I put the rack together, like 3 levels were like backwards. I was like, I got to take the whole thing apart.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Such a pain in the butt. But if you're paying attention and you're not a dummy like me, you won't mess that up. I'm sure that they've now changed it where they're like, this end is the front end, so people don't mess it up.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that might just be a joke. No, for them. It's just like, how many motherfuckers are going to screw
Let's
this
see
up?
how many times you have to put together this rack.
Yeah. I'm just saying I would be the asshole to do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and leave me a bad review. I'm just going to laugh.
I don't care.
Oh, man. So there's definitely, and jump back to AP because they did an economy rack series, which isn't fully open like that. Basically, what it is, it's the side walls are not complete.
Full.
They're not a full wall, and that does cut down cost a bit. So there's a couple of those options as well. I think the most difficult thing, and this kind of is on the same plane for Freedom Breeder and ARS. The difficult thing with those open air racks, right, is if your ambient temperatures or humidities are not
low.
It's just not where it needs to be. It can be hard to
maintain your appropriate temperatures and humidity in those enclosures. So in those open air racks, like finding those kind of creative ways, like I said, using that purple insulation foam to kind of build up those walls is an inexpensive way to do that, especially like us in New England. We turn the furnace on and the air dries out so quickly. So sometimes just putting up those walls so that it just holds it in a little bit better sometimes is all you need. And I know, like, when I was at BHB at Barczyk's place, he because those the old school Freedom Breeder racks, it was just a great a metal top, so it was 100% ventilation all the time. He had taken, I forgot what the material was, and was able to slide that in the back, and essentially, like, on a glass aquarium, so you could throw something over the screen top to keep the humidity, and basically along the same lines for the Freedom Breeder rack. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about really doing that, because you're like, oh, it's just a lot of space. And a lot of the rack companies have started to listen to the customers, and they're making plastic tops now, so that it is, and they drill, it's pre-drilled for the amount of ventilation that you need. So a few of the companies, the bigger companies, are offering the opportunity to have like 25% ventilated, 50% ventilated, 75% ventilated, and all that sort of stuff.
And a pretty solid rule of thumb, if you're doing that, is just go with the 50%.
Go 50-50, man.
Just go with the 50%, because at that point, it's like, if you need more ventilation, you can drill holes in the tubs.
Or in the plastic on the top.
The plastic,
because a lot of them, they now make it so that the plastic can slide out. And
that's a wonderful thing. So, Rob, we're rounding out our time because you also have to go to work.
My night job.
So, where can people find out about you, Rob?
On Instagram at Rob is creeping it real. I post on there on my story all the time, and I post on my thing when I feel like it. And then also check out my YouTube channel. Rob is creeping it real. Same thing. I posted a couple of videos recently. I'm going to be doing another video maybe on Friday. I want to do a working with scrubs during the daytime and working with scrubs at nighttime video.
At night.
Because it's like working with different kinds of animals.
Very true.
And I think that would make an interesting video. There's not a lot of videos about scrubs on the internet, so
That's true.
I'm pretty excited about that. And then also check out our OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Reptile Talk.
Hey,
Where we were before the show today, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties. So Jeremy and I were just goofing around and recording some video.
No, Rob was goofing around.
I was goofing around. He was working really hard.
I was trying to not lose my shit.
I just show up and I'm just the personality. So he does all the hard work and then I reap the benefit. And also don't forget, if you share one of our episodes with someone that you think will appreciate it, screenshot that you shared it with them in either a private message or you shared it on their wall or on your wall or whatever. Send a screenshot of that to me at Rob is Creeping Real on Instagram. And we're going to be giving away at the end of March 2021. We'll be giving away one lucky winner will get a temp gun.
Bam.
A nice temp gun.
Nice temp gun.
So Jeremy, if people want to find out about you, where are they going to go?
If y'all want to find out about me, y'all can go to Instagram at Brassman Reptiles and Facebook at Brassman Reptiles. And most of you are already watching on YouTube if you're watching the video. So you can check me out here on YouTube at Brassman Reptiles. I'm actually going to start, since we're doing video to the podcast, I'm going to start a playlist for all the Reptile Talk videos. So you can go check that out and watch through all of those. Check us out on Instagram at reptile.talk.
Yes.
And of course, the OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Reptile Talk. I had a brain fart for a moment there. Yeah, guys, that's it.
Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Bye.